name is Neil Sweeney. I came to Amador in 1951. I remained at Amador until 1971 or 72, at which time I was appointed principal of Foothill High School. I was at Amador a total of 21 years, serving as a teacher, vice principal, and principal. So I became the head coach in 52, and I coached for 4 more years, and the superintendent appointed me vice principal, so I gave up my football. At the time I realized that administrators were making more money than teachers, and I was starting a large family, and so that was a factor in my moving out of the coaching. I never really lost my interest in coaching. My children were active athletically, which I enjoyed watching them, and then of course my son Matt had a very successful career, which I took a lot of pleasure in his success, his efforts and his success. Well, campus was quite small, and actually in one sense we were out of town. We were on the other side of the bridge, which the Arroyo, and which pretty much ended the city of Pleasanton, town of Pleasanton at that time. The campus was quite small. We had 12 teachers, the principal, and about 200 students. My assignment was English and social studies. My major in college was English. I also taught a public speaking class. In 1956, the superintendent appointed me vice principal, and in those early years, it was a fairly calm job. One part of my responsibility was handling the discipline for the school, and it seemed to work out okay because I did that for a number of years. Those early years, excuse me, before we started growing, the vice principal had a pretty easy time of it. However, as we started growing in the 60s, 64, 65, 66, the job became a little bit more of a workout. Our facilities did not keep up with the growth, so we had an extended school day, and as an administrator we worked the whole time. And one year we had classes from 7:30 in the morning till 5 in the evening with 3 starting times, 3 lunches and 3 dinners, 3 any times. I was the person responsible for the discipline in the school, and because of the crowded conditions, it was a little bit more harried, and so there were a couple of tough years. However, I was determined not to let it get me down, so I made the effort on those difficult years to stay upbeat, and by the end of the year I had survived and probably became a stronger individual.
Okay.
I was appointed principal in January of 1968. We still had a lot of students on campus with a long day. However, my role had changed. We had a very good staff who intended upon their activity, their teaching skills, and their conduct with students. So it was a busy time, but an enjoyable time. It was a pleasure to be able to meet the students at a different level. Actually, the superintendent made it quite easy. I I was very happy with my job at Amador as principal. The superintendent, at that time, Rudy Gaddy, was a quite effective administrator. I remember one occasion, as I was principal at Amador, he came into my office and we talked. Pretty soon I saw things happening around the campus. I said to myself, this guy listens to me, I better make sure I know what I'm doing. So it was a good experience working for Rudy. He opened Foothill, he wanted me to be the principal to make that transition, so it was pretty simple. Just I cut the bounds and started planning Foothill, and from then on I was all Foothill. After Foothill, I became the assistant superintendent for secondary education, 7 through 12. My final years were worked out of the district office, primarily working with the principals on their programs. In the spring of 1985, Ralph Laird was getting ready to retire, and I was in an office next to his, and I saw him doing the planning, and I figured, well, I could do that, so I decided I would retire also. I was 57 and 8 months old at the time, a little younger than normal retirement time. But I had 34 years working for the schools, so I thought I could do it. At any rate, I was still at Amador, and a job announcement came across my desk looking for an assistant commissioner for the North Coast section of the CIF. CIF is a California Interscholastic Federation, which regulates high school athletics. So I became the assistant commissioner for the North Coast section. So I did that for 5.5 years, and my final retirement. So all in all, I enjoyed my total of 41 years in education. I've been so fortunate in my career. I can't take credit for any of the. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. A lot of people help it. You know, some time ago I was thinking about, in basketball, they give credit to a person who makes assists. He not shoots the bucket, but he makes an assist. And I think in our life, there's so many people who have assisted us to go. At one time I tried to make a list of those who gave me an assist or a leg up. It's innumerable. It doesn't stop, the people who have helped you over the years. So that's what I'm thankful for. Take advantage of your opportunity. It's a great opportunity. The experiences you'll have, stay alert, be part of it, jump in.
So my name is Jon Fey, and I'm the principal here at Amador Valley High School. I started my principalship in the 22-23 school year, and enjoying it and looking forward to year number 2. At Amador Valley High School, on any given day, you've probably got, and I'm saying beyond the instructional day of classes and 2,700 students coming to school every day, beyond that, you probably got at least 15 to 20 activities going on at any given time after school. Whether it's after school enrichment programs or sports practices, band rehearsals, games, meets, matches, all of the things that happen on campus, it's just enormous. It's enormous, the number of things and the sheer number of things. So I think one of the things that you end up realizing as a principal of a large comprehensive high school is, first of all, everything that happens here is my responsibility, right? So then you start thinking about that. All of the different things that are going on and all the opportunities for great things to happen, but also the opportunities for mistakes, ends up becoming something that weighs on you as a principal of a school this size. Now, I tend to more focus on the successes and focus on the celebrations, right? And so when I'm here, I'm going to basketball games, and I'm at volleyball matches, and I'm at football games, and I'm at tennis matches, and I'm at wrestling. I mean, everything that's going on campus is something that that deserves the principal to be there, parents to see me there, and to celebrate our students who are out there learning a trade, learning a skill, and doing it to the best that they can, and knowing that they've got their principal behind them. I think that to me becomes the more important part of the job. When I got this job, I was told that being the principal of Amador Valley High School is like being the CEO of a small corporation, and that it goes beyond just the yes, it still includes the things that are going on in the classroom, but it goes beyond that. It goes to how am I representing myself in the community, and making sure that Amador Valley is represented in Rotary, or represented at Pleasanton Partners in Education events, and because it's such a central part of this community. It's got such a core foundation of history in this community, that I think that I see this job, there's a responsibility that I don't think happens in any other city, in any other school district that I've ever experienced, at least, that where the town is so close, and that the school is such a big part of it. I've never seen a community where so many people stay, and their kids are now living, their children who went to school here are now living here. We moved here 20 years ago because of the community, because of the events that happened during the summer, and the things that are available for my children to be able to participate in, that go beyond just the school. It's again the community piece. And as the principal of the high school now, I kind of see that with a whole new lens, and just the importance that the school the importance it plays in the structure of the city of Pleasanton, and just the feel of the city of Pleasanton is pretty monumental, and it's pretty special. What makes Amador special today is the ability for students to have a place that they fit in. I think that when I was doing my research and interviewing or preparing for interviewing for this job, I spoke with some students. And being a member of the community, I kind of had an advantage of having connections with families, and through my volunteer work with the Pleasanton Little League. And so for me, it was, I knew a lot of people, but a lot of my umpires, my junior umpire program, half of them were students here in Amador. So I reached out to them and I said, what to you makes Amador special? What makes it a great place to come to school at? And they said that the first thing they said is that there's something for everybody here. I can find a place to fit in. There is a club, there's a group activity, there's something that I can connect with, and that every student that can connect with or find a place where they fit in, or they feel they fit in. The second was, if I ask for help, I get help. So if I go to a teacher and a student says, if I go to a teacher and I ask them for help, our teachers go above and beyond the call of duty to get that student the help that they need. So I think two things you see there. You see that, one, they feel like there's a connection, and two, they feel supported. And when you've got connection and you've got those mechanisms of support, you're going to have student success. Now, Amador today, we still are seeing, just like all other schools in the state of California are seeing, is that there are still pockets of our population, our student groups, that don't feel connected and aren't feeling like they get the support. And it's still got to be our job to reach out to them, to meet them where they're at, and find ways to connect with them, find ways to get them connected to the school. Not that we're just saying, here this is, and just let them choose and let them come to the, it's like bring the water, bring them to the water. No, we need to bring the water to them. And we need to really do more to make sure that we are reaching each student, not just, again, providing a program and then only serving those that decide to show up or decide to take advantage of it. While we can't force students, we can at least make it known that they matter and that every student, each student matters. Because again, I think that once we find a way to connect a student, and once that student is connected and we can find the support that best fits for them, then they're going to be successful. And so we've, just like all other schools in California, we have a job that we still need to do, but our students do feel they're connected and they do feel supported. So we started last year with our 100th graduating class, or our 100th commencement here on campus. And that was pretty exciting. And I think when I first got here, my first days on the job, I was out at lunchtime in the senior section. Of course, some other traditions, of course, that we come up, you have the senior eating area, the junior eating area, the sophomore and the freshman eating area. So it's a little bit like, okay, no, you're sectionalized in terms of where you eat lunch, and it's not. I mean, there's nothing strict about it. The kids eat where they want to eat. But I was hanging out with the seniors on those first week, and I started mentioning the fact that that they're the 100th class, they're the 100th commencement. They had no idea. And so from the very beginning, I have tried to make this my mission and a message that there's a legacy that they are kind of taking on the responsibility for, that they didn't sign up for, that they didn't ask for. But at the same time, when I started mentioning that and saying, okay, so you've got 100 years of classes or 99 classes coming before you, what are you leaving for the next 100 classes? And they really started thinking about it. And so this idea and this message of legacy started to happen from the very, very beginning of the school year. By the way, when I got the job, they told me, by the way, it's the 100th year and you're going to be doing a centennial. And I was like, okay, you just take it as it comes, right? But it's been a joy. It's been fun to kind of learn the history of the school, learn the history of the city that I've lived in for 20 years, and then again get those seniors excited about their legacy, and then for them really thinking about what kind of footprint are they leaving for not just next year's freshmen or next year's seniors, but the senior classes for, like I said, the next 100 years. So that's how it started for me. And then of course we've been meeting and having centennial meetings monthly, and of course then some of the decisions were made prior to me getting here, and I go along with it. And so we've got our celebration. So we had the 100th commencement. We decorated just to the hilt and just really had an awesome experience for those graduates. They each got a commemorative pin, a centennial pin, that a lot of them wore on their robes and on their sashes for that graduation ceremony. It was really special to see them sort of have something that they can take with them. I mean, yes, they get the tassel, yes, they get the diploma, but the diploma and the tassel don't commemorate that they're the 100th class. And so decorations aside and all of the things that went into the pomp and circumstance for the ceremony, they got to take something with them that they will always remember, that they are the centennial class, that they are the 100th commencement class. And so now the graduation's over, and now, and we've kind of gotten that class all hyped up, and now it's a matter of getting ready for the actual events, with the museum opening, the exhibit opening, with the downtown parade and funneling right into pigskin, funneling right into a home football game, just to try and, again, to bring that hometown experience back to our alumni, to not just for our kids that are here, but to our alumni, who those memories are probably the more cherished ones as well when they were here. So to really provide that kind of experience for them to, of nostalgia, to and to be proud. I mean, something that we want them to see that, you know, if they were the ones that started Pigskin and they were here when it started, to see that this is still going. And to just experience the campus and just the sheer changes that have happened on the campus from a building perspective. It's gone through its phases for sure, and so just a matter of them being able to experience their school that they were a part of, and relive the moments that made them who they are, but also understand that who they are made us who we are today. So I think you can't ignore the fact that that we have a history of excellence academically. So I think what matters, and I spoke earlier about making sure that we're reaching all students that may not be performing to their potential, is to not forget that we are still meeting the needs of all of our students, and each student, those that are struggling as well as those that are achieving academically. So for us, it's maintaining that level of excellence and helping students, all students, or each student rise to that level of excellence. I think that's the biggest piece. And again, we have we have a supportive community. We have supportive parents. We've got wonderful and very talented and very creative students that come to us. That we just need to make sure that we're continuing to meet their needs and also providing them the challenges that are going to advance them further, especially in their areas of inquiry, their areas of curiosity, and eventually creativity. That's the first thing. I think the other piece too is, from a facility standpoint, we have a lot of, I mentioned our sports or athletic programs. We have high quality athletic programs. We have high quality music programs here that don't have the facilities to meet their needs. And so one of the things that, the legacies that I want to leave is going to be the buildings that we're going to build from as a result of Measure I. And of course, our community has been very generous to approve, I think, $380-something million in bonds to do the work that's needed to meet the needs of our high-quality programs. And so, for me, having that space, having those buildings be here for the next 100 years. There's a building, the small gym is the first gym that was built on this campus, and it was built, I think, the year after the school started, so it would have been 1923 or 24 when it was actually built. That is going to, that's going to go down. I mean, it's because we need to think about the next 100 years, right? And so a state-of-the-art facility is something that our teens and they deserve the facilities in order to meet their needs. So for me, having something that's going to serve our students and serve the students' needs as well as meet their expectations, and be able to, again, to push that challenge, to push their envelope, not just from an academic standpoint, but a physical standpoint when you're talking about sports, or creativity standpoint when you're talking about music. We really, I want to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to be able to get them to be the next generation of engineers, musicians, athletes, scholars in general. Well, I think first and foremost, the message is that we care about our kids, and we care about your kids. So if you're sending your students to school here, they are loved and they are cared for, and we look out for them, and their safety is absolutely number one. But also making sure that they're getting a challenging, rigorous curriculum and experiences here on campus that are going to prepare them for college, or prepare them for trade, or prepare them for whatever they choose to do next after high school is happening here. So I think that's so my message is that our students matter. But the message to our students is get involved. I really want our students to go to those club meetings, be in a sport. These are the days and these are the years, and again, we're talking about this 100 years of history of generations of people who have come to this school. They all had these same experiences when they were here, and it was always special. I remember my experiences when I was in high school, and they were special for me. And because I had a teacher who told me, take advantage of all the experiences you can when you are here in high school, because once you get into college, it starts becoming more focused, and when you become an adult and you get a job, it becomes even more focused, and then you become parents of your own children, and it becomes even more focused on the things that do matter, and those things are important. But in terms of enriching your life, and again, of gaining the experiences and the memories of this time in your life, it only happens when you step out of your comfort zone and get involved, or to try something new. So take those opportunities, be in those clubs, or learn an instrument, or play a sport. Even if you've never played it before, try out. Those experiences will only prepare you for the future in terms of the initiative piece of trying out. Will be the same thing as the initiative of applying for a job or sending in your application because there's a job that you want to have. I think that there are underlying lessons in everything that we do, and the more you do, the more lessons and the more skills and the more confidence and the more abilities that you are pulling into your repertoire, and they're going to serve you well in the future. So for me, I want you to get involved, get connected, and then being involved means staying connected. So I go back to how I started the conversation, which is students that are connected to school, who are supported, are going to be successful here. And so that getting involved is your way of getting connected. And so I think getting connected to your school and getting connected to your community is super invaluable, an invaluable experience that I want everybody to have. It's why I went into teaching. I went into teaching because I wanted to make sure students were connected, and I could provide that one way, or through music, in teaching music, I provided that way for students to be connected. As an administrator, it's not about music now, it's about all of our programs that are available for you. So to me, I want to make sure that I'm connected as well to our students. Our students are connected to the school, but that they don't see the principal as the disciplinarian or the guy that only deals with the trouble stuff. No, I get to go out in the community and I get to celebrate and represent the great things that are going on this campus. And there's nothing greater than our students, and so getting to know them and them knowing who I am and getting to know me is super important to me too. So connection in all its facets and all its forms would be my message to all of our students, future and past, to stay connected to the school and stay connected to our community.